Hey everybody, Norm from Tested here at E3 2016, and yes, I'm standing in the Oculus booth. That means I'm going to get some Oculus demos, specifically with Oculus Touch games, Wilson's Heart, Unspoken, and even an Oculus gamepad game from Insomniac, Feral Rights. Let's jump into the demos. I'm going to give you some impressions, and we will have an interview with Palmer Luckey and Nate Mitchell. Stay tuned. All right, so the first game I played was Wilson's Heart, and this is by Twisted Pixel. It's a noir mystery game in VR with hand presence. So, of course, I'm using the Oculus Touch controllers, which abstract my hand motions and my finger positions by where I'm gripping and what fingers are on the buttons. There's also some haptic feedback. So as I'm pulling these chains right now, I can feel some vibration. As you can see, I'm experimenting with the hand presence right now. As I lift my thumb off the buttons, the thumb moves. As I press the grip, then it turns into a fist, and I can use that to then interact with these objects. It isn't like a mystery adventure game, so I'm exploring this world, and the way you explore it is through teleportation. So I see that's not actually another person. That's an indicator letting me know that I can teleport there. And so I've teleported to this new location, which then every location is like a little piece of the story, or it's a piece of the puzzle, or it gives you clues or items that can help further along. And I'm in the tutorial right now where I'm learning interaction models, and I'm actually trying to flip this page up. So there's actually a contact point on the bottom left of that page. It's highlighted, and that's where I can interact with it. The hand gets then locked onto the page, and I can move up to turn the page over. But then you saw there's actually that little ghost version of my hand. The ghost version is where my real hand is, and then when you're locked into an animation, like when you're holding a door handle or something. Not every one of these teleportation nodes will have puzzles or have a ton of things to interact with. Sometimes it's just getting around the world, but sometimes it is moving along the story. Now, I moved the head along here not to spoil the story, but there is your classic VR looking into the mirror experience. And so that's your character. The part of the story is you're trying to figure out why you're in this hospital and why what's happened to you so far. And I do like that there is body presence here with the shadows, with the reflection, showing your forearms and your hands. And there you see the ghost hand again as my hand gets locked in. The in-game model gets locked into the animation when I'm grabbing that faucet handle. But then as I move my real hand further away, you see the ghost version of the hand. I actually like how that keeps you immersed while you have these interaction models. A lot of items in this game world are highlighted, let you know that you can interact with them, and the physics work well so far. You can pick things up, toss them around, and also find things like keys, which then you can put into the top right-hand corner of the screen, which is an inventory. So much like point-and-click adventure games, you're finding things, finding keys, finding clues, putting them in an inventory, and then that progresses you further into the game. Here's another part of the game where the hospital is supposed to be pretty big. Lots of rooms. Some of the rooms are locked, of course. You have to find the keys. There's a lot more to the game. I think there are some startling moments that reminded me of BioShock, but it also reminds me a lot of like a classic adventure game. But instead of moving a mouse around and pointing and clicking, you're moving your hand around and finding objects and interacting with them, like these bottles. I can't wait to play this game. It looks like a lot of fun and definitely has a lot of atmosphere. The next game I played is another Oculus Touch game. This is The Unspoken. It's made by Insomniac Games, and again, I'm experimenting with that hand presence, moving my thumbs, seeing if there's parity between the two Oculus Touch games I played. Like, what are the gestures that the controllers can do, and whether these gestures are something that can be abstracted with other touch controllers. Like, these are Oculus exclusive games, so you can't actually do these with the HTC Vive. This is what Insomniac calls like Fight Club, but with magicians. So it's actually a multiplayer VR combat game. And you have your hand here, you're a magician, and you have like a shield in one hand. On the other hand, you can throw fireballs. So of course, I wanted to see if the physics worked well. And it's really satisfying when the physics work the way you expect. So I'm flinging my wrist out, and I wanted to see, is it the arc of my throw that determines the trajectory, or is it the velocity? Because those are two things that the game and the controller knows. And I think it's more velocity, because I could fling my wrist really short distance and still get really long throws. So I'm just experimenting with that right now. In addition to these basic powers that you have, and there will be a bunch of different characters with different powers, there are also special abilities. So I can pull them up on my left hand and activate them. Each of these special abilities are kind of like very simple mini games. There's drawing with a marker. If you draw a box, you create a shield. If you tap the edges of a sheet of paper, you create a paper airplane, which you then throw. It turns into like an A10 warthog. Or you can use a hammer, smash an anvil on 3 basic points to time it right, and it turns it into a javelin. I like that these spell mini games, whether they're gesture based or very simple tap actions, were kept simple because then it's not as mentally taxing. Because there's a lot going on right now. You got to be situationally aware of where your enemy is, where you are in the world. You do teleport between these nodes, between these pillars, which are of different elevations, and you also have to look for cover. And so there's a lot going on, and I'm happy that it's making use of these gesture systems and these fun mini games like this hammer. Just hitting them, I'm missing them right now because I'm worried about whether I'm going to get hit by the enemy, and so it's going to take a lot of practice. There's also cover-based systems. You can see there's like a plank of wood on the pillar below me. I'm going to teleport down there, and then once I'm down there, then I'm dodging around it. You can destroy the objects or the obstacles. I'm really excited about the social aspect of this game, this being a multiplayer VR game. There will be AI as well. The enemy I'm playing against here is actually AI, but with the microphone built into the headset, you have instant communication that's built into the game. That's the Unspoken. It reminded me a little bit about the HTC Vive game Waltz of the Wizard, in that physics-based superpowers are really, really satisfying. And I can't wait to try the other characters that are in the full version, each with their own abilities. And finally, the last game I played is actually a gamepad game, also made by Insomniac, and it's Feral Rights. And this is a game that I was actually least impressed by in my demo time at the Oculus booth. It really is emblematic of a kind of game that I think people complain doesn't need to or didn't need to be in VR at all. It's a third-person brawler with a fixed camera system, so it's a lot like Chronos. Except I think the camera implementation here wasn't really it's not really well thought out. You're always fixed behind your character, and as you see, it's mostly combat based. So I'm fighting enemies, and as I beat them to the edge of the screen, the character gets further away from me, and I lose sight of them, or they can get occluded behind other in-game models. Um, that those flames you see, the blue flames in the front and the back, those indicate kind of the boundaries of this part of this camera. So while the map can be very big, it's split into these small areas, and then I can move past the one in the back, and the camera jumps forward, and then if I go backwards, then the camera sometimes flips back around or sometimes shows it in the same orientation. When you're in combat, though, then you can't knock an enemy into the next area. So that is a nice part of it. The theme of the game is that you can transform into animals, into beasts, and there are some nice fatality animations, kill moves in the beast mode. And in the time I spent with it, the map was interesting to explore, but really is just a brawler. It's all about getting those combos, hitting your blocks up, and there you see I'm in that beast mode. Um, there's a lot more to this game, but it really wasn't the game I was most impressed with in this demo time.